Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to talk about Canon G7x Mark II camera. I would like to mention a couple of things that I really like about this camera and maybe a few things that I don't like so much, and to also make a general observation about what I think this camera is good for and what this camera might not be so good for. So let's start with the good stuff. As you may know from my previous reviews, I really care about the finishing and how durable the camera feels in the hands, and this camera is definitely a winner in this department. For being a compact zoom camera that it is, it feels really solid. The hinges, you know, this hinge right here that you open with a battery and SD card, it seems to be very well made, and all the buttons feel very solid. The body feels very good in your hands. It doesn't squeak, it doesn't crack like some other cameras out there, so that's definitely a plus. The other and maybe the biggest thing that I like about this camera and what this camera is known for is the maximum aperture of 1.8, and it's 1.8 to 2.8, so needless to say that this camera is excellent for low light photography and low light videos. So this is a huge plus. I don't think there are too many cameras out there that have a greater maximum aperture than 1.8, especially the compact zooms. On a related note, because this camera is so good for low light, it actually tends to overexpose in quite a few situations. So I remember the first time I used this camera taking pictures at a dark bar, they came out as if it was daylight, so it completely misrepresented the way that things were. It made it look like it wasn't an evening, it was like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Now, there was a very easy solution that I wasn't aware of until I started looking closer into this camera. And this solution, you have a dial here where you can reduce or increase your exposure, which is, let me show it right here. So this dial is so much more convenient right here and so much easier to use than going to the menu, adjusting exposure like in many other cameras and DSLRs. So all you need to do is to turn this dial up or down, and it's basically like a brightness switch on TV. You just turn it 1 or 2 points down, and you're going to have the perfect exposure that you want. So I really love this easy access to exposure without going into the menus. Let's see, the other thing that I like about this camera is the fact that you can switch the ring from being clicky to, you have a lever here, to being smooth. Now, you might not think it's a big deal, but in certain technical situations where you want your zoom to be fixed and not to move at all, no matter what, this can be useful. And if you want it to be very smooth, whether, again, you use this ring as a focus or as a zoom, then you can just switch this lever and be in a position where you can change zoom very smoothly, or change the focus in or focus out for an artistic shot very smoothly. It's not that important of a function, but it's definitely a perk. Now, a couple of things that I don't like. Well, the main thing that I don't like is that I actually ruined one camera exactly like this a couple of years ago. So I went to the beach in the Middle East. There was a lot of sand, little grains of sand, and I don't think I dumped the camera into the sand, but after I came back, after I did my footage, after I posted it online, and I will link to the video that I made with this camera, I realized that the sand got into all the wrong places in the camera. Specifically, it's gotten into this lever right here, the zoom lever, so it stopped moving, it stopped working. Then the sand also somehow got into the zoom ring, so it started making cracking noises. It was already after the warranty has expired, so I took it to a repair shop, and as you can imagine, repairing and cleaning cost more than it would be worth dealing with. So I just gave up on that camera, I gave it away. But the conclusion is unequivocal. This camera is not for coming to the sandy beach. So you have to be gentle. You have to protect this camera. If I were you, I would play it safe and I would use this camera in a more quote-unquote urban and less natural environment. Of course, if you go hiking, you're not going to be surrounded by sand, but the beach is not the right place for this camera unless you're super careful. Going back to the positives, I mentioned the video that I linked to in the description that I made with this camera. So the videos that come out of this camera are very sharp, very high quality, great colors. And yeah, the video is great. The sound, on the other hand, is okay. It's not great, it's average for this type of camera, but because you don't have a mic input, your sound capabilities here are pretty limited. And this brings me to my conclusion. What this camera is good for. This camera is great for taking pictures in low light conditions. It's great for making videos in low light conditions. This camera is great for vlogging if the sound of your voice is not that important. If you're okay with having an average quality sound, if you're not looking for a perfect quality sound. This camera also has a decent stabilization, so your footage, the shakiness is going to be significantly reduced by the in-body stabilization. So, like you will see in my video, if you do what I do, if you take a high quality video footage from this camera and you mix it with your own music where the sound that comes from this camera becomes irrelevant, then you don't care about the sound. You can enjoy all the benefits of this camera without caring about the sound. However, if sound is very important to you, if you want to use a lavalier mic, if you want to use a shotgun mic, because the sound, you go to a concert, or you're recording an interview where you need a better quality of sound, then this camera might not be the right camera for you. Also, if you're going to a sandy beach destination, then this camera is also not going to be good for you. You need something that is weatherproof or at least dustproof, something that's sealed, something where the sand is not going to do anything. I also had G85 back then, and just like G7, these cameras might have their own flaws with focusing and all that stuff, but they're much better for sandy condition. They're much better at keeping the sand out, and even if your sand is getting into a detachable lens, it's going to be so much easier to clean it than something like this. So keep this camera away from dust, and you're going to enjoy a lot of good qualities, high quality footage, amazingly sharp pictures, and if the sound doesn't matter to you, then this is a great choice. I would like to mention a couple of accessories that I really like, and I'm going to link to everything in the description as well. Well, one accessory actually, and that's the bag. I think this carrying case is a perfect case for this camera. It's Case Logic. They come in medium and large. I think you should definitely get the large size. It's really cheap. I think it's around $10 or something. So the camera fits perfectly in here. And the other compartment right here it's like tailor-made for the charger for this camera. And then I keep an extra battery inside the charger. There's a tiny little pocket here for a couple of SD cards. So I think this is a perfect accessory to carry your camera in. And if you get G7x Mark II or Mark III or whatever, same size camera, this would be a perfect carrying case. It comes with a strap. Normally I don't use straps with the carrying cases, but this strap is actually very convenient. You just put it like this around, and it's just really easy to carry, really comfortable. It's not in your way, because if you have a DSLR with a strap, it's a completely different story. It will be in your way, especially if you have another bag or if you have a backpack when you're traveling. But this just works very well with the whole setup with the camera. So if you get G7x Mark II, please tell me what you think, what you like about it, what you don't like. If you have any questions, please let me know. And please watch the video that I posted that I made a couple of years ago with the camera that I ruined with the sand, and it'll give you an idea of the type of footage that comes out of this camera. Thank you.